Hi, today I'll be describing my lesson plan on the life cycle of butterflies. This is an interdisciplinary lesson plan between the science standards and the reading standards. So, for the reading standards, I'm addressing the relationship between specifically scientific ideas or concepts um, in text using language that pertains to time, sequence, and cause and effect. So the um, life cycle will be described using time, sequence, cause, and effect. All right, and then my science standard is that plants and animals have life cycles that are a part of their adaptations for survival in their natural environments. So the content itself will describe each of the stages of the life cycle and what they need to do to move on to the next and their environmental factors involved in this. So for my first activity is going to be the pre-reading activity, and that is a activity from the tools book that we have, and it is called List Group Label. So this activity is basically brainstorming a web. So I created a web. It says butterfly life cycle, and then there's little things for the students to fill out. So they'll get in a group and come up with what they know already about the butterfly life cycle, so that when we read, we will have a basic background understanding, background knowledge, and I will know where the students all stand ahead of time. So they'll do this, and then in groups, and then they will discuss what they already know. So next, we will read the book that I chose to use for this topic, and it is a picture book, and it is called Butterfly Story by Anka Harrington. This right here is the cover page of it, and I have it on my iPad here. Since technology is kind of developing, I thought it would be okay to use my book on my iPad. So this book is really neat because it kind of tells the story of the butterfly starting the beginning. So the butterfly laying the egg is the first step. So before I get into the book a little bit more, I'm going to describe my during the reading activity. So I created an example of what they will do. But the students will create a flip book while they are reading. So they'll get a blank one of these at the start. I'll allow them to decorate the title page, life cycle of the butterfly, and then as they go, they will fill in the tabs of each stage. So the first stage is an egg, so they will write egg, and then underneath here they will write in their information. Now, as a strategy for differentiation, especially since I'm going to have some struggling readers, I will have this kind of printout of the descriptions of the different stages, so they can connect each stage to what is printed out. So they won't know which one it belongs to, so they'll have to figure that out based on what they're listening to my reading. So it's not going to be cut and dry exactly. They'll have to figure it out, but it's a little bit easier than listening to me and writing down the ideas on their own. But the main idea will be to read while I'm reading, and writing down the ideas. And they'll have to know what sequence to write them on. So each flap, it will start from beginning to end. So they have to make sure that they label them in the correct way. And I know that it's kind of backwards on the screen. It's like flipped for some reason, but they will be able to follow along as I'm reading to understand what is going on. Alright, so during the reading, the first stage is an egg, and the book is really cool because it describes the first stage. It says that, I'm just skipping ahead a little tiny bit from the beginning, but it lays one tiny green egg on a nettle leaf, then it flies to another bush. The egg sticks to the leaf even in the wind and the rain. And then it's got really cute pictures, really cool illustrations to go with it. And then it says, inside the egg is a little caterpillar. After a week it begins to move, munches on the ribbed eggshell and splits the shell open, then it crawls out. So that's the beginning of the next stage. So for the beginning, they'll write something on the lines of eggs, that it is small, that something comes out of it, and a caterpillar comes out of it. They eat it, it survives the environment. Something to that effect. It will be a little worded differently for the students, but something on those lines. And then after we're done reading, we'll have a butterfly life cycle crossword puzzle. And this is just a little simple crossword puzzle that they can use to get the terminology down, the vocabulary, and the language demand. So that is the one the students will get. And then somewhere here I have the key that I created right here, the back of here. Got the key. I used a website to create this on my own, so this is my own personal creation, not one I found. But I thought it was a fun way for them to get to know the vocab a little bit more. And then for our after reading strategy, after reading strategy, we're going to use the GIST method as I did in my method presentation. And what we will do is the same as I did in that presentation, where I talked about the student will take the first sentence and summarize it, and then they'll add the second sentence into that and summarize the first two together, and then the first three together, and then so on. But it's a book, so in this case we'll do it page by page, but some of the pages have just a few words on them, so maybe we'll take 2 pages at a time to get through and just get a brief summary of the whole entire book, so that way that I know that they understand what they're reading. They have a brief summary as a class of what the book is about. So we will do that as a class and take it page by page and not just individually. And then last but not least, I'll have an exit ticket for the students to complete. And this is my assessment strategy. The exit ticket I chose is very simple, but it's a little sheet that they fill out. Kind of can see through to the back, but write down one thing that they learned from reading the book, The Butterfly Story, and then it asks them to write down the stages in order of the butterfly life cycle. So I can see one thing that they learned that they thought was interesting, and then I can see the order. So that is all for my lesson plan.